Okay, video number 2, so I can get all my thoughts out. Wyatt. Ooh, okay. I had a connection today. Multiple connections, really. So many things. So this is why I'm getting this out in a video instead of waiting until I have time to write it down. Don't want to miss all this stuff. This has come up with Wyatt a couple times last week, actually. I feel like there was one day last week at the beginning of the week where I took him out to the arena and he didn't want to go forward and he started his stupid pawing rearing crap. And, the little thing that he does. And then you're like, you stupid. So I worked through it. And actually, that day, I had to work through it in the arena. And I got him through it, and it was fine. And then he just carried this tension with him for the rest of the week. He felt better after he had a day off. And now, keep in mind, it is December 1st. His worst months are always October, November, December. He is always the absolute worst. And typically by now he's getting a little bit better. I wouldn't say he's gotten better or worse over the course of the last few weeks. But I remember the week before Christmas last year where I was like, maybe I should put this horse down. And I'd never actually said that to anybody, but I wrote about it in my journal because I was like, he has such a hard spot. It was a big wake-up call for me. But today was another reminder to me about how deep that crap is in him and how deep his damage in his baggage is. And he wants to fight about it. Unlike 90% of horses, Wyatt is like, I'm going to fight about this. I'm mad and I'm scared and I'm angry and I'm resentful and let's fight about it. That's how he is programmed. That is a bold horse. And I'm thinking about Julie telling me a while back, one time last year, she's like, at the beginning of the clinic, she's like, I think your horse is about as bold as mine, and there's not too many of them that are that bold. She's like, maybe Rory, but Rory is actually different still, even though he can be quite bold. I don't know. Rory has a different past. That's the differences. Rory could be like this too. If Rory had been fallen into the wrong hands, which would be almost anyone else, he would be. You would have all this baggage too. So she says, he's almost as bold as Shadow. Then by the end of the clinic, she's like, no, I take it back. Your horse is more bold than mine. And she's like, there's really not too many of them out there like that. And it is kind of interesting because they're all these 3 big, dark brown, almost black horses. A warm blood, a thoroughbred, and a warm blood thoroughbred cross. And it's interesting how they all have. And I see the parallels between Wyatt and Shadow because they both have a lot of anger and resentment, and they both want to take care of themselves by fighting. That's just the best that they knew how. They've both been in shitty situations in the past where that was the only way to get through the day. And then it still comes out. Shadow's a lot better than she used to be. Wyatt's a lot better than he used to be, but clearly they both still have some stuff. Shadow's good. She's a lot. Some of the stories you almost wouldn't believe, but I have seen her do a couple things. And it's interesting because Shadow used to kind of go after people, whereas my horse doesn't go after people. He'll fight you until he gets away, and then if he gets away, then he's and saying that is part of why he comes off different when he's not as angry when he's loose, even though he's afraid, because he can get away. Whereas when he's on the halter, he can't get away, and it scares him so mad that he's pissed and he wants to fight. It's just what he knows how to do when he falls into those bad places. So today, he wanted to fight me. I did have the opportunity to go take him to the round pen, and I just had a feeling he needed to go fall apart. So I worked with him on the line in the round pen for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and that definitely helped. I just had to get to that big place where I have a lot of energy in me, and it does bring up his worry, but sometimes with him when he's in that mood, because basically here's what happened. I pissed him off because he wasn't warmed up, he wasn't mentally checked in to go, and I tried to wake him up, and I wasn't being mean about it, I was being abrupt, but I had given him a couple chances. So I got pretty firm, and I got him with the flag on his shoulder, right behind his shoulder near his girth, and it pissed him off. He was like, I'm not ready for that. And I could have probably avoided that if I hadn't done that. On the other hand, the resistance was already there, so he would have just found some other thing to blow up about later. That's all that would have changed. Because he came out with that hard place in him. So I did work through a huge part of the hard place. Then I took him back to the front arena where the scene of the crime, and worked through some junk there. He did kind of try to, it's so sad. He was kind of all nice and calm, and then as soon as I went back to the front arena, he was like, I gotta fight about it again. So we definitely had some stuff there. Another lesson in just hanging in there that little bit longer, and it's something I gotta remember to apply to the new little one, because with Wyatt, I could see how it could get scary. There's a little part of me that I don't have any physical fear about it, but my apprehension about hanging in there that little bit longer is just literally like other people judging me, and about my own performance. It's performance based. It's not about getting hurt. It says a lot about me, doesn't it? So anyway, but just hanging in there that little bit longer because he needs you to, and you gotta hang in there a long time to outlast Wyatt. A long time, and that is not a task for most people. So I was really just thinking, I was reminding myself that, okay, I do have this big bold horse, and it also reminded me a big bold horse that not many people could handle. Most people wouldn't even choose to handle him. I mean, he'd be dead or he'd be out in a pasture somewhere. Thinking about putting that horse into pasture, but he has to get handled enough that he's not feral. So we'll see how that goes. There's no place to take him. So, but I can envision a day where both my horses live up in Yankee Hill at this point, because the little one's going to Yankee Hill as soon as there's an opening. Then just grow up, spend at least a year or two up there, being a baby horse. Anyway, that was a tangent. Just thinking about what I bring to the picture, because it did make me mad, although I feel like I didn't add a lot to the situation. And I did think a lot about how I don't want the little one to end up to where she has resentment, because what I realized was that bad spot in him today goes back to a bad feeling he's been carrying around for a couple of weeks about being asked to go forward. It's the same place, it just came out different. So, because before he was loose in the round pen. So, thinking about that and thinking about how I can help him through that more effectively. Lots of stuff, lots of good stuff today. Long day.